Yesterday we talked about rounding. We talked about rounding to the nearest tenth. Today we're going to talk about rounding to the nearest hundredth, and we're going to go through the same process, right? So if you remember from yesterday, we had a couple ways of figuring this out. We used number lines. We learned a rhyme to kind of help us remember. So if we're thinking about the process we went through in the rhyme, we talked about number one, we want to find the place. We want to look to the neighbor. Which would be one place value column to the right. And then if it's 5 or higher, we add one more. And if it's 4 or less, we let it go. So let's do a couple of practices on this page as we're rounding to the nearest hundred. So here our number is 465. So step one is find the place. Step two is look to the neighbor. So I'm going to look at the number in the tens column this time, not the ones column. Sneak my little arrow in there. So I'm looking at the 6. So the 6 is a 5 or higher. So I'm going to add one more, and I'm adding one more to the place that I was looking at. So I add one more to the 4, and that's going to round this number to 500. So just like when we were rounding to the nearest 10, you have to think about if you were counting by tens, those are your choices. You're going to pick the number that if you're counting by tens, the number you're looking at is the closest to. Well, now we're counting by hundreds. So my choices are 0, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000 on this page. And we have to pick, okay, what hundreds number is 465 closest to? If I wanted to show that on a little number line, I'm going to make the smallest number line right here. All right, we're going to say the 200s that 465 is in between would be 400. And 500. We know the midway point between 400 and 500 is 450. Just like 45 is halfway between 40 and 50, 450 would be halfway between 4 and 500. And if I was going to put 465 on the number line, it would be somewhere over here on this side of 450, which makes it closer to 500. So we'll do a couple more. I'm just going to go across the page. So 947, I'm going to find the place. I'm going to look at the number next door. It's a 4. So if it's 4 or less, I let it go. So I'm going to let go of the 45, and the 9 stays a 9, and I'm going to round it down to 900. Let's look at this one, 902. I'm going to use a different strategy for this one. If I'm counting by 100s, I know 902 is really close to 900, way closer to 900 than it is 1,000. So I'm just going to use my knowledge of math numbers to round it to 900. All right, we have 123. I'm going to go 123. I'm going to find the place. I'm going to look next door. It's 4 or less, so I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let go of that 23. And boom, we have 100. Let me get that dot. There we go. All right, I'll do 2 more. 834, find the place, look next door. It's 4 or less, so I'm going to let it go. So I let go of the 34. The 8 stays an 8, and we round it down to 800. And last one we're going to do, find the place, look next door. This time it's 5 or higher. So I'm going to add one more to the 3, right? So that would be 1 plus 3 is 4. So we are rounding to 400. Notice that the tens column and the ones column will always have zeros when you're rounding to the nearest 100. If your number's rounded, then there are always zeros after the place you're rounding to. So when we rounded to the tens column, there's always a 0 in the ones column. Now that we're rounding to the hundreds column, you'll see the zeros across the tens and the ones.